Recognize that opportunity is always available when you are attuned spiritually. Now, the most important thing along this spiritual journey is to recognize that you are always on the spiritual journey. Even for those people who don't consider themselves spiritual or even atheists, they are on a spiritual journey. It's just that their journey may look and appear to be different than yours. But this is about you. So what I want you to understand is that it doesn't matter where you are, where you feel you are. You may even feel lost on this journey. But understand that is part of the journey itself. So even though you may feel lost, you are not. Understand, though, that you feeling lost is a symptom of the ego and being essentially led by the ego. And though you may be transitioning from an ego mindset to one of a consciousness mindset, it is still a bit of a process. And sometimes that process can feel daunting, heavy, challenging. It can often make you want to quit, okay? But there is no quitting. The only way, in fact, to not see opportunities and recognize that opportunities are everywhere is to, in fact, quit. But since we are living this life and we are currently living, then there is no quitting. There is always the process. There is always the journey, okay? Now, maybe when we cease to live in this physical world, then, okay, one can say, then that is it. But I don't think that when we transition or when we ascend from this physical realm and we go to the next realm, I think that the journey continues and we continue to learn and understand who we truly are in this existence of the grand scheme of the universe. But what I want you to understand is that you are a divine being of divine intelligence. You are a fragment, an expression of the universe, or what we often call God. Now, that being said, if you are created by God, if you are created from God, you are of God, okay? You are an expression of God. And everything that God has created is an expression of the abundance that is God. You are an abundant being, okay? So when you think of yourself as divinity, think of yourself as pure abundance. Think of yourself as something, someone, an entity that can essentially create anything you desire, as long as your mind, your emotions, and in this realm, your physical body is in motion and in alignment with that which you desire. So as we get into opportunities and recognizing that opportunities are always there, you must recognize who you are. You must have at least a small seed, a small spark, a small understanding of this concept. And eventually that will continue to grow and expand. Just like the universe is continuing to grow and expand, you, being a fragment of the universe, are continuing to grow and expand. So take comfort in that and recognize that the journey is guaranteed for you to succeed. It's just a matter of how you're going to do it. It's just like watching a movie, right? Watching a movie with a superhero and a villain. We know the superhero is going to win. It's just really about understanding and seeing how it happens, what the journey is like for this individual. And so the same applies to you. What is your journey going to be like? What decisions, what twists and turns, what challenges, how are you going to face these challenges? What emotions will come up? What is the overall story of you coming into the self-realization as to you being the creator of your universe? And so when we think about opportunities, we must think about really leaving the space of being dragged and pushed by the ego, being led by the ego, to being essentially led into who you truly are, pure consciousness. Now, what I want you to understand is when you think about your true nature is consciousness. Now, when we think about nature, recognize that nature always is in a state of balance. And even when it is, quote unquote, out of balance, it is and will do whatever it takes to bring that equilibrium back into balance. So when we think about balance, even in its extreme states, when we think about deserts, right, which can be and appear to be something that is out of balance, still it can have vegetation, still animals can live there and thrive as long as those animals and that vegetation adapts to that situation and that environment. And when we think about even places where it has been robust with vegetation and water, and all of a sudden something happens, right? Think about, global warming, climate change. Even in situations like that, the universe, nature is and will create a situation which is a sign, a symptom of bringing that space, bringing the world back into balance, back into equilibrium, okay? And that can look like what we call natural disasters, right? Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, tornadoes even. Those things are not bad in nature or bad to my definition of what they are. They are just symptoms of something that is out of balance and the divine intellect bringing that back into balance. The problem, though, is that because we are in the path of those natural, quote unquote disasters, okay, and it is inconvenient to us because it destroys our homes and in some cases will kill individuals, it is in fact not concerned with that. It is only concerned with bringing balance to the overall world, right, to the overall environment. And so as you transition from being led by the ego and following consciousness, and you are recognizing, okay, that the world is abundant, but why am I not living this abundance? Why are there things that are inconvenient, unfortunate, and quote unquote horrible happening in my life? Well, those are the natural disasters happening to you in order for you to recognize something, to wake up to something, to bring you back into balance and equilibrium, so that way you can make a change. You see, when we're being dragged or we're being led by the ego, okay, we are not making the best decisions. We are, instead of following our own intuition and our own knowledge and wisdom, we're following what has been told to us, what has been programmed within us to believe. Rather than challenging those things, we accept them, and then we continue to live our lives thinking that that's the way things are supposed to be. But those are false realities. Those are false belief systems. Those are negative paradigms. When we get into being mindful and questioning those things, right, then we begin to make a shift and we start to be led by consciousness. That is our natural state. When you are being led by consciousness, then you are no longer living in environments where there are, deserts where there should be forests, okay? You are in a natural state of recognizing, okay, this is true paradise, right? And so in order to maintain this paradise, you have to respect the nature of who you are. You have to respect the nature of how you do things in order to materialize certain things. And so when you are in this state of following consciousness, then you're in a natural state of seeing and recognizing opportunities in everything. Then you are aligned spiritually, you see? So you must recognize and see that this is a process, right? And the progress of you leaving behind the belief systems and the reality of the ego is a part of that journey. And now as you begin to grow, okay, right at this very moment, you are growing and expanding. You are now allowing yourself to be led by consciousness. You're allowing yourself to be your true essence, your true nature, you see. So you must move forward recognizing that you won, okay? You've already won. Yes, you can make things difficult. You can make things more challenging. But when you recognize that you've already won because your natural state is that of abundance and infinite opportunities, then it allows you to let go of the ego, let go of the fears, let go of the anxiety, the insecurity, the, ability to think that maybe you are, doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, when in fact, everything that you're doing, you're supposed to be doing because your consciousness is leading you along the way, whether you're aware of it or not. Now, when you decide to purposely be led by consciousness, then that expedites the process. And that makes the process way more comfortable fulfilling, and pleasurable. But as long as you are resistant, then you're going to experience those natural disasters happening in your life, because those natural disasters are happening to wake you up. All right. Just like for us, these natural disasters that are happening around the world is with the intention of bringing balance to the overall environment, but also waking us up to what we are doing and not doing, right, in relationship to following your divine nature. So this is about taking accountability and responsibility for the decisions you're making, but recognizing that it doesn't really have to be that complicated. We just simply need to follow our own nature. You simply need to just listen to your intuition. Don't be led by societal norms. Don't be led by people who are giving you suggestions and answers for things that they know nothing about, right? Only you can give yourself the true answers. Only you can truly direct yourself along your path of self-realization, fulfillment, happiness, joy, success, right? You have to be in tune with that. And you have to be willing to understand that no matter what you do, if you are following your intuition, it is going to lead you to the success that you desire, to materializing and manifesting the things that you desire, to you ultimately fulfilling and actually achieving that personal fulfillment that we all want. So you have to trust in that. Recognize that you are a divine being, but that means that you are an abundant being, and all the opportunities are available and there for you. You just have to recognize that, and that way, when you do recognize it, you will then, and only then, be able to identify those opportunities. You see, because if you're living from a place of the ego, remember, the ego only sees problems. It only sees obstacles. It only sees what you can't do, right? It creates that for you. But when you see and recognize consciousness, consciousness will give you the answers. Consciousness is the answer. And then you use your mind to strategize and figure out how you're going to manifest and pursue, right? Now, remember that as long as you're following consciousness, you will always win at the end. Now, your mind, though, is simply just deciding how you go about doing that. And when you recognize that you've already won, then the mind can relax, and then it can figure out and think of easy, simple, and effective ways to get it done as effectively, as sufficiently as possible. That is how it works. That is the mission, okay? So please understand the opportunities for you to create and manifest anything that you desire. It is infinite. It is always there. It is constantly surrounding you. You have to simply let go of this ego mindset, and you have to lean into consciousness where all the answers lie. And in using your mind, you just simply create and follow what you intellectually and even intuitively feel you must do to get you there. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com and subscribe to my newsletter, and also get access to this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.